Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome. Welcome to the channel. My name is Kelsey. Thank you so much for joining me here today. In today's video, we are back with another pick a card reading, and we are looking at messages from your person's higher self. Okay, so in front of you, we have three different cards, three different groups to choose from. And I'm going to ask you to take a deep breath and connect to your intuition, to your guides, and ask which one of these three cards is holding the messages from your person's higher self that you need at the time that you find yourself at this video. Okay, and here we have pile number 1, pile number 2, and pile number 3. And I will have the timestamps to the beginning of each reading in the description box below. So without further ado, go ahead and pause the video if you still need a moment, and I'm going to go ahead and move on to group number 1. Hello, my beautiful group number 1. Those of you that chose pile number 1 here, this reading's for you, and we are looking at messages from your person's higher self. So I do ask you, if you enjoy this reading, if you like my videos, please do hit that like button, as it truly does help to support the channel. And if you'd like to support the channel further, please consider subscribing, sharing this video with others who you think might benefit from these messages, or even joining the members section of my channel, and the link to do so is in the description box below. Okay, so we are going to start here, group number 1, to look at messages from your person's higher self, and then I'll shuffle the rest of the cards out as we go. Okay, so what does your person's higher self have to say to you today, group number 1? Okay, definitely trust issues coming in here. There's definitely some sort of maybe even betrayal that you've experienced, group number 1. But I feel like what this feels like here is maybe you feel like something's being hidden from you. You feel maybe like you're being deceived. Interesting. Definitely trust issues. I feel like that's definitely what your person's higher self wants to talk to you about. I definitely do feel like there has been a breach of trust in this connection previously. And I feel like that breach of trust is now kind of controlling this connection. Interesting. So some of you guys may even be in separation, and that may be part of what led you to this reading. Part of you guys may be together, but having a very difficult time trusting. I'm seeing somebody going through somebody's phone, going through somebody's social media, very much so like trying to catch somebody doing something wrong, or trying to prove that you can't trust this person. Or, you know, for some of you guys, this could be the other way around. Energy is fluid, so apply it in which way it resonates best for you. But there's definitely trust issues here that your person's higher self wants to talk to you about and wants to address. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull some tarot and go a little deeper into this message for you, group number 1. We have Temperance coming out. And what I'm hearing with this is you're going to get back what you put in to this connection. So if you're putting in mistrust, if you're putting in skepticism, if you're putting in deception, you're going to inevitably only see those things coming back from this person. So it's like your person's higher self. And I love that Temperance came out here, because I always kind of feel like the Temperance is our kind of our spiritual self, or our spiritual journey, or like the best parts of ourself even. And I feel like This person's higher self is saying the more of what you want that's put into this, the better kind of connection you're going to create. I hope that makes sense. We also have the sun. Wow. There is a lot of child energy here. Some of you guys may have known this person in childhood or since childhood. Maybe you've been separated for a long period of time. Some of you guys may have children together or a child together. Not everybody. Again, this is a general reading, so apply it how it resonates best for you. I am also hearing for somebody that maybe you thought having kids with this person would make them stay or would keep them from cheating or make you trust them more. But I feel like whatever you create from this connection is meant to really bring out the joy in your life, as well as I feel like this particular connection, group number 1, is meant to help you heal your inner child. So a lot of my group number 1s here may have experienced like a childhood that was full of deception, that was full of trust issues, that didn't feel safe. And I feel like this connection really brings a lot of that energy to the surface in order for it to be healed. We also have the Tower. Yeah, I feel like things are really kind of shaken up for you right now. I feel like group number 1, it's like you feel like maybe your foundation has been taken away from you, or maybe you feel like it just feels like my world has been rocked. It feels like I've wasted my time, or for some of you guys, if you're in separation, it could have happened very suddenly, very abruptly, and very almost harshly, without allowing you or this other person allowing for conversation or explanation. I just really feel this sense of like, well, I saw something that really caused my trust issues to arise, and so I just ended this. So I maybe ran away. I cut everything off, or even for some of you guys, there may even be kind of some self-sabotage energy here, like I'm gonna leave before you can leave me type energy that your person's higher self wants to address. It's like we were happy, we were stable, we were secure, we were growing, we were thriving, and then all of a sudden something happened and it was cut off. It ended suddenly. And I feel like this ending isn't permanent, but I also feel like this ending happened because of like misconception of something. You could have saw a text on somebody's phone and interpreted it in the wrong way and left, or this person could have done that to you due to previous trust issues. All right, so let's go ahead and pull another card here. I do see group number 1 on the bottom of the deck here. We have the Two of Wands, and I feel like for some of you guys, you may have been experiencing a connection where you felt like this other person was keeping their options open, or felt like they weren't able to commit, or maybe you felt like you were only there until something better came along. And there's just something here about instead of like enduring, or instead of being vulnerable, instead of working through this, there was just a severing, whether this was an energetic or emotional severing, or like you or them just up and left. It's going to be different for everybody, but the overall message that I'm getting here for group number 1 is that this sudden or abrupt ending or separation or shift happened due to a misconception. Interesting. Let's pull another card here for group number 1. A message from group number 1's person's higher self. Okay. We have forgiveness. The energy of forgiveness strengthens our capacity to let go of unwanted feelings and emotions. So group number 1, I feel like your person's higher self is coming forth here saying we're never going to be able to move forward unless we can forgive and we can move forward, instead of constantly allowing the mistakes or the past hurts or the potential past betrayals, whether it be in this connection or connections before this or from childhood. I just feel this sense of like holding them against this person, holding them against this person whenever they make a mistake. It's like, see, I knew you wouldn't change, or I knew you couldn't change, or I knew you were lying to me, or I knew, like, that kind of energy here. And your person's higher self is really wanting to heal together. But in order to do so, we have to kind of lessen our grip on this trust wound, so that it's no longer controlling the way that we move in relationships. I hope that makes sense for you. Okay, so let's pull some more cards here. I just kind of scattered them all over. That one flew out specifically. So, okay, our first card here is New Heights. Let your connection with spirit ground you as you reach for the sky. Okay. And I find that very interesting here, especially with the sun and how she's kind of reaching up with these birds as well. So there's definitely like this need to find common ground that you can move forward from, instead of repeating the same kind of cycles or the same conversations or the same arguments or the same experiences. Some of you guys may have the same experience over and over and over again, even in different connections. And I feel like this person's higher self is saying, like, we have to find common ground, which I feel like is this forgiveness. We have to find a level playing field in order to make a plan to move forward together, instead of always being defensive or being on guard or accusing or that kind of energy. Okay. We also have hurtful events. Yeah. As you endure this period, learn not to dwell on the past, so I won't anchor you down. I love that. Not dwelling on the past so it doesn't anchor you down. And I find it very interesting here with the Tower card as well, because it's like, if we allow these hurtful events to be so prominent, if we dwell on them, right, we get engulfed by the pain, by the sorrow, by the hurt. But if we allow ourselves to separate from them and we leave that part behind us, we can then move forward and be able to see clearly. We're no longer clouded by the smoke, but we're allowed to shift and change. And a big part of that comes from forgiveness. So your person's higher self is asking, I feel like asking for forgiveness. Wow. Okay, so this is the message that I'm seeing for my beautiful group number 1. If you enjoyed this reading, please hit that like button, as it truly does help to support the channel. Consider subscribing if you feel called to do so, or you can find the link to join the channel members in the description box below as well. I thank you guys so incredibly much for joining me here today, and I will see you guys next time. Bye. Hello, my beautiful group number 2. Those of you that chose card number 2 here, we are looking at a message from your person's higher self. And I do want to just invite you, if you enjoy this reading, to hit that like button, as it truly does help to support the channel. Consider subscribing if you feel called to do so, and if you'd like to support the channel even further, consider becoming a member, and you can find the link to do so in the description box below. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into your reading here, group number 2. We're going to take a look here at this card first and take a look at what this person's higher self wants to kind of talk to you about, and then we'll shuffle the rest of the cards out as we go. So group number 2, we have the Warrior. So the first thing I heard when I flipped this card over is, I want you to fight for me. So I feel like this message that's coming through here is, this person kind of feels like you've given up on them. Or feels like they aren't worth fighting for. I'm hearing the song like Love is a Battleground. Interesting. I feel like group number 2, I'm almost picking up on the energy of like this person being around in your life for a very long period of time, and always being kind of sidelined or friend zoned, if you will. And I feel like this person's higher self is coming forth saying, like, I've endured the battle. I have fought for you. I have gone to war for you, and I continuously will go to war for you. But it's almost like they're wanting you to notice that. And I also feel like this person is currently amidst like a spiritual battle right now. Like, they are fighting their own demons. And they're needing like support is what I'm seeing here. Or backup, if you will. Okay, so let's go ahead, group number 2, and pull some tarot. Some of you guys also, this is a general reading, so take this how it resonates for you and leave what doesn't for who it's meant for. But I'm also picking up on somebody here being like, I am so incredibly tired of fighting. I'm so incredibly tired of constantly having to fight for this connection, or constantly fighting with you, or constantly fighting to, keep my head above water, depending on how this comes through for you. But that is coming through. Let's pull some tarot. Group number 2, what does your person's higher self want to say to you today? Group number 2. I feel like this person feels like you are a part of their soul's purpose in this lifetime. Like, they are meant to protect you, they're meant to stand by you, they're meant to serve you, regardless of a label on a connection. This person may also be connected to you through a past life. They may have served you in a past life. Interesting. So we have the Empress, we have the Eight of Wands, and the Wheel of Fortune. Wow. So group number 2, I'm seeing here that I feel like it's been a very long journey for you guys. And I feel like this person's higher self is constantly feeling like they're chasing you, constantly feeling like they can't keep up. And I'm hearing this like, well, how am I supposed to fight for you? How am I supposed to protect you if I'm always behind you? So there's something here about like they almost like they want to be your shield. Interesting. So I am also hearing for some of you guys that the person that's coming through here, the higher self of the person that's coming through here, may not have been the person that you intended to get messages from. And I'm seeing like somebody roll their eyes, like, I don't want messages from this person. Like, they're my friend, yes, but I don't want anything more with them. And I feel like you guys are meant to kind of grow together. I'm really seeing like the movie 13 going on 30, and how her best friend was there the whole time but in love with her, but stayed the whole time through all of her other relationships and through her heartbreak, and was always there. And eventually she realized that that stability and that security and that safety was in fact what she wanted. And I feel like that is like a message coming through here from your person's higher self with the Empress. Like, there's a need for your person's higher self to really communicate the comfort and the security and the stability that this connection offers. Interesting. There's something here about comfort, about nurturing, that this person's higher self really wants to offer to you. And this Eight of Wands really feels to me like you're outrunning this person, or constantly kind of dragging them behind you, constantly moving very quickly. Again, that kind of energy of they have a hard time keeping up with you. And with the Wheel of Fortune, I feel like this person's higher self is saying like it's time to slow down. It's time for a change. It's time for a shift. It's time for the next phase of this connection's journey. It's time to potentially change the dynamic of this connection. And you know, that doesn't mean that you have to get married to this person tomorrow, or that you even have to be in a romantic relationship, but there is a need for like acknowledgement of this connection. So depending on how that resonates for you. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull some more cards, group number 2. Let's see what else your person's higher self wants to say to you today. Group number 2, please. I just really feel this sense of like this person really just wants to take care of you. This person really just wants to hold space for you. Wow. So we have here union, and this is number 44, so the number 4 may be quite significant for you. The number 4 also really represents kind of our foundation, our security, our stability, our support, right? This person wants to support you. I feel like physically, emotionally, energetically. But the message here says the energy of our union activates our ability to unite our outer and inner aspects toward a state of wholeness. Okay, so group number 2, some of you guys may be feeling kind of empty or feeling kind of alone or feeling kind of disconnected from the world, from your life, from your path, from your journey. And I feel like this person's higher self is coming through here saying that they can help you realign with your path. Okay. I feel like this person's higher self is also really wanting to communicate the abundance that you guys can manifest together. It's almost like once this connection clicks into place, whether it be romantic or not, once this connection clicks into place, there's going to be like a lot of luck and a lot of abundance along the way. Okay. So let's pull some more cards here. We have 3 that want to come out, but our first one here is carried away. Let yourself be caught up in the whirlwind of a romantic moment. Okay. Let yourself get carried away. Let yourself indulge. Okay, we also have roots of stability. Ground yourself in what nurtures your being, establishing a stable base from which love and career can bloom. Yes, this foundation, the stability, the support system. And then finally we have scales of balance. Seek equilibrium in love and career, harmonizing your inner scale to weigh decisions with both heart and mind. Okay. I love those messages for you guys. Group number 2. So definitely this union is not only between, I feel like, you and this other soul, but also between you and the external world and between your heart and your mind. A lot of union, a lot of alignment coming into place. That all kind of seems to be very interconnected with this particular connection, and this person's higher self really wants you to know that, okay? But this is what I'm seeing for my beautiful souls that chose this pile. If you enjoyed this reading, if it resonated with you, if it brought you value, please hit that like button, as it truly does help to support the channel. Comment down below if you feel called to do so. Let me know that you chose this pile. Consider subscribing, and if you'd like to support the channel further, you can find the link in the description box to join the members section of the channel. I thank you guys so incredibly much for joining me here today, and I will see you guys next time. Bye. Hello, my beautiful group number 3. Those of you that chose card number 3 here, this reading is for you, and we are looking at messages from your person's higher self, okay? So I do want to just take a second to say, if you enjoy this reading, if it resonates with you, please do hit that like button, as it truly does help to support the channel. Consider subscribing or joining the channel as a member, and the link to do that is in the description box if you feel called to support the channel further, okay? So let's go ahead and get into your reading, you guys. We're going to start here and take a look at what your person's higher self wants to talk to you about today, and then we'll shuffle the rest of the cards out as we go. So group number 3. Wow. So we have sleep near here. And this is like the first thing that I heard when I flipped this card over is, why do we always have to rush into things? I feel like this person's higher self is really it almost feels like the rush may be necessary in some ways, for some reason or another. Interesting. So group number 3, some of you guys may really have a tendency to move very quickly in connections and relationships. And maybe this person's higher self really wants you to acknowledge maybe why it is that you do that. I feel like this person is meant to come into your life to kind of help you heal from this need to it feels like there's this need to move as quickly as I can into this connection, so that I don't lose this person, or so that we can get to the next thing, whether it be with this person or just, I feel like this is more your person's higher self wanting to talk about kind of more of a pattern, right? So maybe you've continuously, like in your relationships, moved in very quickly together, moved very quickly. And I feel like a big part of this has to do with like a fear of rejection, or a fear of loss, a fear of abandonment, fear of that person leaving you, or maybe a fear of somebody else coming in and taking them away. And because of that, it's maybe caused you to exert yourself in connections to really try to make sure that they stay. Like maybe you move them into your home and pay all of their bills and support them physically, financially, emotionally, mentally, exerting all of this energy, spending all of your energy, really trying to make sure they're as comfortable as possible so that they don't leave. And I feel like that your person's higher self is wanting to address this. So there may be something happening in this connection that you are moving too quickly in, or you are just immediately trying to patch it up by giving more of yourself. And your person's higher self is saying there's a need to maybe slow down on that. Okay, interesting. I'm hearing this message about love being fleeting, or enjoying the little things. Life moves too quickly to rush through everything. Okay, so let's go ahead, group number 3, and pull some tarot cards and go a little deeper into this message that your person's higher self has for you right now. Group number 3. We have the Ace of Cups, which speaks of love, right? And there's definitely something here of like pouring all of your cup into theirs, trying to make sure that their cup is always full while neglecting your own. Interesting. So that's just something to be mindful of here, but I do feel like your person's higher self is really wanting to address the beauty of this connection, especially emotionally, like the emotional beauty of this connection. Interesting. We have the 8 of Cups. Yeah. So I feel like for some of you guys, maybe you've been questioning if what you feel is real, or if what you had was ever real. Some of you guys may definitely be in separation, but there's definitely kind of this idea of loss, being attached to love here. Like love is fleeting. Like I'm going to love until I can't anymore, and then I'm going to move out and I'm going to start all over again type energy. The 8 of Cups here talks about having to let go of maybe something that we thought we'd always have, or something that we thought we'd always love. And there's something here where it's like maybe you thought this love would always stay the same, and because things are changing, it's like you feel like it's leaving you. But I feel like your person's higher self is saying this is evolving and there's a need for change, okay? And we also have Judgment. Yeah, see, so it's either I feel like group number 3, there is definitely potential for almost like evolvement here, for bringing something back to life. This could have been a love connection that you feel like was lost or that you thought was over. Maybe you were even married and then got divorced, and now there's kind of this reconciliation type energy coming in here. And if that's the case, I feel like some guidance here is to not move right into their house, to not just fall back into this kind of pattern of like picking up where you left off. You're not picking up where you left off, okay? Don't pick up where you left off. Start over. Like, allow this love to be reborn in a new way. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense for you guys. That's kind of the energy that I'm picking up here from this message from your person's higher self. There does feel like there's reconciliation, but I feel like the biggest part of this message is don't allow yourself to just pick up where you left off and pretend like nothing happened. Because that's just going to inevitably end up the same way, right? The same way that it did previously. This love is real. It's something that I'm hearing. This love is real. This connection is real. This offer of reconciliation is real. But there's a need to take things slow and to do things differently and to not just rush right back into where you left off previously, however that might resonate for you. Okay, so let's pull some more cards, group number 3. And see what else your person's higher self wants to say. Okay, we have balance. The frequency of balance supports our ability to find harmony with all aspects of our 3-dimensional and multi-dimensional layers of reality. So I feel like a big part of this message is really learning how to balance how much you give of yourself, as well as learning how to balance like giving to yourself too. Making sure that you're still following your dreams and nurturing yourself and following your path and really still exploring who you are instead of pouring everything that you have into this other person. So there's a message here like don't lose yourself in connections, because I feel like that's a big part of what causes them to end. Because you lose yourself and then there's resentment and there's bitterness, and there's this kind of blame and this essence of like, well, I did this for you. I did all of this for you. But this can be fluid, so this could have gone either way. But when we do these things, it's kind of like loving with expectation. We expect this person to give back to us the same way we gave to them, and when they don't, it hurts, and we think that, well, they must not love us, or they're not willing to give me what I need, or they're not willing to be a part of this relationship. And I feel like a big part of a message here for some of you guys is learning how to love without expectation, but also learning how to love in the way that your person needs to be loved, instead of expecting that they need the same kind of love that you do. And also communicating what your needs are. Okay, group number 3. I feel like whatever connection this is very salvageable. There's definitely potential here to reconcile, to heal, to come back together, to offer love and forgiveness. But in order to move forward in this connection, there's a need to kind of leave the old way of moving in a relationship. There's a need to leave that cycle. There's a need to kind of shift your perception on what it means to be in a partnership. And a big part of that includes balance. So let's go ahead and pull a couple more cards, group number 3. So I am also, before I turn this over, I am also really picking up on this idea of like really needing a connection or a relationship where you're able to truly share your thoughts and your feelings. And this may include kind of having a more non-traditional connection or relationship. You may need to kind of communicate to this person or to your future relationships, like communicating your needs and what you need in a relationship may be something that I just really feel like you guys need a non-traditional relationship. I'm not quite sure how to articulate this other than like I feel like there's a part of you, group number 3, that knows that you can't fulfill all of your needs, or one person maybe can't fulfill every single need that you have, and expecting them to may be detrimental to your connections as well as your partner. So maybe finding a partner or relationship, or maybe working on that in this connection, is something that is being brought up for you. Really being vulnerable and speaking about, you know, the needs that aren't being met and how they can better be met. I hope that makes sense for you. Let's go ahead. We have Meadow of Moments. Bask in the meadow of moments, where presence blossoms in the simplicity of now. Yeah, big message here. Not to rush. You know, not to rush through things, not to constantly be in a rush to get to the next step. And then we also have balance, scales of balance. Seek equilibrium in love and career, harmonizing your inner scales to weigh decisions with both heart and mind. I love that. Right on top of balance there. And then finally we have going forward. Don't dwell on the past, but focus on creating a brighter future. Yes, right on top of judgment. Don't dwell on the past, but focus on moving forward. Don't pick up where you left off. You don't want to recreate the same thing that happened in the past, whether this is with a new person or the same person or whatever it is. I do definitely feel reconciliation for a lot of you guys. But this is what I'm seeing for my beautiful group number 3. If you enjoyed this reading, if it resonated with you, if it brought you value, please do hit that like button again, as it truly does help to support the channel and helps to get this reading out to other souls who may need to hear these messages. Consider subscribing or joining the channel if you feel called to do so. Again, the link to join is in the description box below. I thank you guys so incredibly much for joining me here today, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.